Good morning. Welcome to Fibertown. This is episode 141. It's February 17th, 2016. Hello and welcome. It's been a little while since I've chatted with you all. My name is Emily, if you are brand new, and Chain of Fools on Ravelry, and Fibertown with an R-E on Instagram, as well as the blog, fibertown.blogspot.com. I'm on iTunes, I'm on YouTube, and I'm here in my kitchen with you all today. Alice is on the floor in her bed, right next to me, which is her preferred spot. And yeah, we have a lot to talk about. It's been busy around here, and I am not one that reveres the cult of busy at all. I avoid it. I avoid busy like the plague. I strive for... I wanted to say I strive for peace in my life, but really I'm just kind of lazy. So when things get hectic, it doesn't make me happy. I don't like hectic. I don't like busy. So I'm babbling now. Okay, I'm gonna stop. But just suffice it to say that work and parenting has gotten the better of me in the past week and a half or so. But I finally, and that has included a lot of snow days, a lot of everyone in the house, and in fact, last week I had a house full of teenagers, which was wonderful, and I will tell you more about that as we go on. So yes, if you are brand new, and I just realized I mentioned Alice, she's my dog, she's on the floor, she's sometimes a co-host. She's cozy in her bed right now. So today we are going to be talking about the Compassion Along, which is February's knit along. I strive to pronounce February correctly the whole month. I have one FO to show you. I have lots of works in progress. I have spinning and I have acquisitions / hand dyeing, and just some chat about guests on the show coming up. So let's start by talking about what I'm wearing. This is my new favorite cowl. This is made out of some hand spun, some core spun actually, from some Nunoko bats. And I wove it with some cotton, like a mercerized cotton warp that a friend gave me. It was Danae. Hi, Danae. She gave me a lot of her, I guess, unwanted yarn. And some of it was Patton's Grace, and I've been using it as a little warp for my loom. And this is just the most precious little bit of weaving. Core spun, woven, and then I sewed it into just a tube. And it's lovely and soft to wear. And then this is very wrinkled. Needs a good steam. And it's not the fault of the fabric. It's just that I wore it last night and I wanted to wear it again today. This is my second schoolhouse tunic, which is a Sew Liberated pattern. I love this pattern. And this is, the fabric is by Anna Maria Horner, and it's her Luminous line. And I love this stuff too. So the schoolhouse tunic goes sort of an empire waist, some box pleats, and there's one in the back as well, and 3/4 sleeves. And it's super wearable. I love how they fit me. I love that I can it's not fitted in the gut area, and that makes me happy. I'll be making more of these, and I would love to get some more of the Luminous fabric, and it's Loom, loom, from the loom, get it? And in fact, I was looking at a lot of her other Luminous prints and had my eye on some and thought, I wish there were a Ravelry for this so I could see what this fabric looks like sewn into a garment. And to a certain extent, if you go to like Google Images, when you Google this fabric, you can see some people that have made it into a garment. But then I remembered textilia.com. And I went and I tried to find garments made out of this. And I think it's just too new. And really, I should contribute and put this on there as something made out of this fabric. So no, I didn't find any made out of the luminous fabric. So if you are so inclined and you are a sewist of garments or quilts or whatever, you might consider sort of stocking Textilia with user content so that people like me can go and find images and inspiration. So I think I'm Fiber Town on there, either Fiber Town or Chain of Fools. Anyway, would you all like to see my FO? I finished the Doodler. I finished this right before my fiber camp. This is the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along, started in November. And for a while, I thought I was going to stop after Clue 2. But I decided it needed to be bigger. It needed to be more balanced. And I think that's what this border achieves on it, actually. Because you get a balance. You get a bit of, not symmetry, but balance between the two short edges. So, yeah. I used scraps. I think I've talked about these yarns before. The main one is Northbound Knitting, Metallurgy colorway, which I adore. This is the BFL silk base. I think it's almost 50-50. I love a BFL silk. And then in Clue 3, I used Hazelnut's Artisan Sock in Hoppy Blonde. And then this, I talked about this. I forgot it was a scrap someone sent me. Then I used some more of Hazelnut's in Sassafras. And then I did the bind off in Metallurgy, because I wasn't sure I'd have enough of the Sassafras. And I really love how it looks. I didn't do as fancy bind off. I did a Russian bind off, which is purl 2 together, put the stitch back on the left needle, purl 2 together, put the stitch back on the left needle, and it makes a very nice stretchy decorative, not decorative, but it looks good. And I really like the contrast of the bind off. So now it's quite, oh goodness, I don't know. How do you wear, if you ask Stephen West how you wear a shawl, he says, well, you put it on and boom, you're wearing a shawl. Lots of ways to wear this. In fact, I have been wearing it in public. And I have gotten some comments and compliments. So, tons of ways to make it work, as it were. Is that the right side or the wrong side? Oh, that's the right side for there. So the Doodler, everyone. You know, right here it looks kind of like one of those big shelf funguses that grow on trees. Am I right? You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, off to works in progress. Okay, my February socks are in my birdie bag from Megan, Magnolia 13. The first one is done. US 1.5, 2.5 millimeter. I'm using Addy Sock Rockets, which I like. I like them fine. For Magic Loop, they're great, which is what the technique I'm using here. It's not a technique I typically use. I like double points, but if my double points are engaged elsewhere, I will use Magic Loop, and that's fine with me. So the second sock, I just took it out of the Poke Me Not from Jambi Smiley, which is an excellent little notion to get from her Etsy shop if you are so inclined. It's keeps you from being poked by your needles. It keeps the needles from poking through your expensive or precious gifted knitting bag, and it keeps the work on the needles. You just stick the needles right in there, pop them out. So the second one, oh, I should have said this is the Blueberry Waffles pattern, which is a free pattern, and I'm just doing the Blueberry Waffle on the front, and all it is knit 2 plain rounds and then knit 2 purl 2 rounds. There you go. And you have a Blueberry Waffle. This is the second Blueberry Waffle I've done in a row. They're just, I like a nice textured sock. So, and it does give a nice squish. 64 stitches. I'll be going up to 66 on the foot. In terms of, like, I'll add more gusset stitches and then I won't decrease as many, la 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 la. So yeah. On the heel flap, good times. So what is it, the 17th today? Yeah, I'm on track. I find that it'll take me forever to finish a sock if I'm just doing like a row here and a row there. Because it takes me a while to get into the rhythm of a sock, the rhythm of knitting a sock. But if I sit down with this for an hour, then I get a rhythm going and I can go pretty fast. But if it's just picking up and putting down, forget about it. It's just going to be a bit more laborious. So I need a good sock rhythm, basically, every day if I'm going to get it done. Those are for this month. And then, folks, it's going to be all about me when it comes to socks. I have not knit myself a pair of socks since September. That's not cool. Because I love hand knit socks. And I have not been giving myself pedicures, and I've been busting through socks. I have a nice callus on the side of my, I guess, the outer side of my foot, each foot, under the little toe. If you follow the curve of your foot down, I get a really crazy callus there, and that's where I bust through socks, and I can't have that. So yeah, so I've been using like Norwegian foot cream and doing other things you probably don't want to hear about. So, moving on. My sock blanket, I think it got a square or even two. Let's take a look. Has not been an item of focus, but as I had those teenagers in my house and was doing fiber camp, I wanted a square to commemorate that event. So I put in this one. And that was, I think, some scraps from Janice Ficker, La Ficker. And then this one, also from La Ficker, and this was Socks That Rock. I believe that was a club colorway. I think that's it. So, back into its bag for next time. I have so many scraps, you guys. Does anyone want scraps? Let me know. Put this over here. More works in progress. What shall I show you next? Oh, let's look at more socks. So at Fiber Camp, we had a blast, a dye day. Dye day is always, I think, kind of the most fun part of the whole camp. We dyed sock blanks, and I'm going to grab my phone so I can show you a picture because I've already unraveled mine. So fun. We had stencils, and we had all sorts of brushes, and all sorts of ideas. The kids came with all sorts of cool ideas for how to make their sock blanks look nice. And this is a picture of all of them, including mine, which is the one that says always. I did a Snape Harry Potter tribute with some rainbow colors because rainbows are great. And then my daughter did the one at the bottom. And then the other 5 were from the students. Now, this one here I'm calling Koi Pond. See the blues and the oranges? Super cool. This one above it was inspired by Starry Night. Amazing technique. Now, the very dark one above Starry Night, you really can't tell, but this is going to look super cool. She dyed like a smoky charcoal black. She painted it on, most of it. And then there are very subtle bits of pastels under, like on the underside. She's painted both sides. And on the top as well, where there were white spots. But I think it's gonna look really very subtly cool when it's knit up. That one looks like, gosh, was it a character from a Dr. Seuss book? I think it was, like a circus character, like, what was it called, Spot? Anyway, very fun. Totally achieved the effect she was looking for. And the top one, oh, super cool. Lots of speckles. There's speckles on my kitchen floor I need to clean off. And just a lot of fun. So I also put speckles in my sock blank. And these sock blanks were double knit. They're not fun to deal with, okay? Yeah. So I think in the future I might get single knit. But the reason I got double knit was because the kids had they had needles purchased for them that were that could be used for a worsted weight project. So if they were to hold these sock blanks double, then they can use the needles that they already had without having to buy new needles. That was the rationale. Now for me, I wound up the sock blank as a double strand, and then I tried to separate them. And so, of course, I, at one point, just lost my cool in at the very end. So I have 4 balls. This is my speckled rainbow always sock blank. It's a merino nylon blend. And this is how it's knitting up, folks. Super fun, and I have a hard time not knitting on it. In fact, I made such a tiny rib at the top because I wanted to get to the stockinette so badly. Yes, I did. I love it. So I think that the double knit sock blanks are not as tightly ramen noodly as the single knit ones. It seems like it to me anyway. Maybe because there are 2 strands taking up the space that one normally occupies, so maybe there's not as much tension, and I don't know. It's just a theory. So this is a lot of fun. I hope that the fabric ends up, I hope that I'm wondering if I should maybe go down in stitch count or down in needle size because of the way the stitches could potentially behave. I wonder if this fabric is going to be too loose. I'm trying to stretch it this way and this way a little. I don't know. What have your experiences with knitting sock blanks been? Let me know if you have any ideas. What else? I have been working on a design, same one that's been on the go for maybe a month now. And it got put away during knit camp, fiber camp. And I think it needs to be ripped out, and at least to a certain point. So that's always fun. And some modifications made to a certain part of the pattern. So yeah, so that's kind of on the go as well. I have a sock head hat over here somewhere. Where is my sock head hat? Ah, there it is. Okay, this is out of Villain Vine. Dirty on Purpose in the Volca base, the MCN. This has gotten very little work on it as well because, again, knitting camp and other stuff. So, sock head hat, 2x2 rib, lots of stockinette, and gorgeous, super wearable slouchiness. So, very drawn to these sort of earth tones lately. I'm also drawn to pinks. Very drawn to pinks, which is highly unusual for me. It's just all of a sudden become a very appealing color to me. So that is the second to last work in progress. Now the last work in progress is making me laugh because it's the Threshold sweater. And let me grab a picture off of Ravelry. Actually, no, off of my PDF reader. That'll be a little easier. This is a fingering weight sweater. It is by, is it Melanie Berg? Let's double check. Yes, the Threshold it's a fingering weight sweater with this sort of quilted pattern. It's got 4 inches of positive ease. Looks like it's a boat neck. I'm a little worried about how loose it is in the neckline all of a sudden. I may have to make some modifications there. I like how it's a little bit longer in the back. It's got a split hem. So I'm making the size 40 on top and probably a 44 on bottom. And I'm doing this out of Hazelnut's Artisan Sock, one of my favorites. And this is a big wheel in the quill colorway. This is about 800 yards, I think. Yes, it's 800 yards. Bam. It's midnight blues and blacks. It's looking much more purple on the screen. Does it match my hair? No. It's a lovely wearable color. This is all I've got so far, which is better than last time where all I had was the cast on. So it's a twisted rib up top. So it was a little slow to knit at first, but it's worth it. Twisted ribs look lovely. I am using my marbles, interchangeables that I was kindly sent by Stitchcraft Marketing. I still love them. The only bad thing I can say about the marbles is that size eventually rubs off. I mean, by eventually I mean in the knitting of one sweater. When I knit my Nanook, by the end of that, the sixes are totally missing their sizing. Now, that's a small thing, and they're color-coded by size. So that does help with remembering what size they are when they do rub off. These are size 4s, US 4s, and that is a 3.5 millimeter. I'll have a little bit of a sweater started. This is in my Holland Handmaid's 9-patch bag. It's a tote. Super fun. That's it. That's it, folks, for Works in Progress. Let's talk spinning, shall we? Stuff is just in random places this week. This is my Highland Handmaids. What's the word for it? Club. Pitch pine top, feltable, 80 merino, 80 dyed, or 20 dyed black merino, 4 ounces. So this is the club colorway for January. If you don't want to see it, avert your eyes. Everyone should have gotten them by now. I guess it's okay, I spun it. I had a blast spinning it. This is Aurora Australis, and that's the southern northern lights. The southern lights. It's a southern Aurora. And I feel like I need to fix. Whatever. Fix it later. So this is 210 yards of a chain ply. It came out very well. I wanted something bouncy. And I find that a chain ply for me is the lazy option because I don't have to switch bobbins around like you do with the traditional 3-ply. You just spin the sucker onto one bobbin, take the bobbin off, and ply it onto another bobbin. It's these beautiful blacks and greens and pinks, and sometimes where they meet, it's a peach or a chartreuse, and it's delightful. I found myself spinning top from the fold a bit lately to get more of a woolly, cushy, airy, poofy effect, which is the yarn I love. Now, Heather's, she's the dyer of Highland Handmaids. Her fiber, and this is not the first of her fiber that I've spun, her fiber has always been super well prepared. I've been impressed, and I find that it's so open. And again, it's fresh, it's just been dyed. It hasn't been sitting on my shelf for years, but it's so open and so forth that I don't really have to spin this from the fold to get a nice woolenish spun. It's very open and poofy and just super easy to spin. And if I just slow down my treadling and I spin on a bigger whorl or a larger ratio, then I can just spin straight from the braid with a supported long draw. And this is just, I got nice yardage for, it's a worsted. Bam, 210 yards for 4 ounces. So I'm very happy with how it came out. And I want mittens out of it. Or mitts and a hat, maybe. Really gorgeous. Can't wait for the next months. fiber to come in. Shouldn't be too long either. A few weeks. So that is super fun. My other spinning is the second half of my teasel bat, and I'm using my Golding, which is just one of the best. Maybe I think it's the best strap spindle I have in terms of length of spin. That weighted rim is just something special for a long spin. And this is from shopteasel.com, which I went on the other day, and she has really cool stuff, and I want her to put more stuff up because I have some funds. I want to buy things. And yeah, really great stuff. What else spinning wise? Well, I have started spinning this. This is, didn't get any of my coffee. This is yogurt drum carded with the Gotland lamb that I have. And yeah, spinning up really easily, again, from the fold, from a bat. Lovely stuff. I woke up the other day and I was like, guys, really not too long till Maryland sheep and wool, and I'm gonna want to buy fleeces. So I need to start cracking the whip on getting some of these fleeces spun up. So yeah. So that's getting done next. Now, that is it for spinning for the moment. I do have some acquisitions. What shall I show you first? Okay, while we had fiber camp, we went to Looped Yarn Works in DC, and I got myself a crazy Zauber ball because I wanted to buy something. And this is colorway Chocolade Densite. Anyway, I'm not going to speak German. I don't speak German. Is that chocolate something or other? Anyway, it's going to look awesome. It's got russets and oranges and grays and tans and browns and reds and lovely. This is colorway. Let me see if I can get, okay, color 2092. 2092. Who knows? That's going in the stash. I don't know when that's going to get touched. And I think it's a 2-ply, which is weird, right? Is that weird? Do these wear well anyway? That's one reason I haven't bought them so far, because it's a 2-ply. It doesn't seem like a good idea for sock wool, but I'm going for it because the Germans seem to know what they're doing with sock yarn. So yeah, it's 25.75. Superwash nylon. It's nylon. Let's just call it nylon. So hand dyeing. On our dye day, I showed you my sock blank. I had lots of excess dye. So I took some natural color, or some fiber I had on my shelf that was natural colored, and I wasn't really attached to it. So it's mostly fiber that had been given to me, actually. And I think this might be Glen Forest braid. And I popped it in the dye pot with all of the leftover purples. Sort of did a jungle juice kind of. All right, everything that's left over. And I put all of the dye in there at once, and you can see what part of the fiber went in first. It's the most saturated, the most purple. It sucked up the dye first and sort of hogged the dye. And then you have the intermediate, and then the fiber on the top of the pot was turned this pink. It's kind of fun, right? It's a big fascinator. I'm going to wear this to the next wedding I go to. And then the greens. I had a Polworth, and then I think this is like a tan merino. I really don't know. I haven't braided it yet. These went into the same exact dye bath. And the darker one started out taupe. This one started out white. So it's kind of fun to see the difference. I think these might get carded into bats. It's a lot of wool, and they need to be braided. Oh, sorry, Alice, she's covered in wool. She does not like to have yarn touch her, like string touch her, when she's on my lap and resting while I knit. It's a constant battle we have. So that's fun. Now, dye day, I also dyed my skeins of yogurt. I used some silver and black, mostly silver with a little bit of a black wash. These are going to get woven into cloth. This is yogurt who is a fleece from a Maryland sheep and wool a few years ago, a Corriedale, Border Leicester. Why do I always forget the third one? Corriedale, Border Leicester, Romney. Oh my gosh. Really came out lovely. Just lovely. And I think this will be knitted into, this will be the woven fabric, and this will be the knitted band that goes around the neck and the fronts. We'll see. Possibly, possibly not. Really happy with how that dyed up. I just took a deep breath, took the plunge, threw it all in the pot. Bam. Now, what else do I have to show you? Oh, this is my daughter's sock blank. She painted it. The back she left alone, so I think there'll be some nice spots of white, but saturated through in places. These are just so much fun. Okay, so I also dyed my woven swatch. So excited for that project. I might spend that money I have in my PayPal account to buy a boat shuttle, because I think that'll be a nice addition to my weaving repertoire. So this was some superwash I had that I dyed just threw the leftover greens and browns in there. I really love how it came out. Greens and browns, I think there were some yellows as well. And then this one was just a random wool that I threw all the purples in and tried to dye sort of a solid, and I got a solid. So like it's looking more royal blue on the screen, but it's very purple. There's no royal blue in real life. So it was an excellent dye day. Had a lot of fun. It's hard being on your feet all day, let me tell you. And it's labor intensive teaching 5 people to knit when it's just you. I had forgotten how exhausted I was after fiber camp last year. And let me show you one more thing before we talk more in depth about fiber camp. Valentine's Day, we're kind of housebound. We've had a lot of snow days. We've had some ice. We've had lots of snow this winter. And it's the kind that, and we've had Arctic cold. So the snow has been sticking around, which it doesn't typically do for very long here. One of my new happy places is Finch Sewing Studio in Leesburg, Virginia. I cannot say enough about this store. I want you all to come with me to this store, okay? I want us to hang out there and knit and look at the fabrics, and then I want us to go have lunch and coffee and ice cream, and we'd have a great time. Doesn't that sound nice? So my whole family went with me on Valentine's Day, because they're open for the afternoon on Sundays, and we had lunch in Leesburg, and it's a really neat little town. It's sort of in the country, and Finch is just a gem. It is an absolute gem. It's an entire building, so 2 levels. They have a classroom, they sell Berninas, teach classes for kids and adults. They have, excuse me, I would say that their yarn stock is designed towards the maker, not the collector. Know what I mean? You're not going to find hand-dyed sock yarns there. They have Madeline Tosh and Quince, but they have, and there might be some Manos somewhere too. But it's really like you want to make a wardrobe. That's the focus of their store. So they have lots of Madeline Tosh. They have lots of Quince. They have sweater quantities. So, and then their fabric is amazing. Their fabric is so well curated. They have they're getting new things in now. They had the new Charlie Harper line, which I was tempted by, but I ultimately decided to buy something very special. They have Alabama Channon. That's where I got my jersey, my organic cotton jersey. They have all sorts of events. They have Friday knits, knit and like crafty socials. They had a lot of new double gauze. They have Japanese fabrics. They had a bamboo-based fleece that was amazing. They have wools. They had the luminous. They didn't have any new luminous. I want more. I doubt they're watching, but follow them on Instagram and you'll see. So one very special thing they have is, I would say, 10 to 12 bolts, and they're kind of rolls of Liberty of London cotton lawn. See where this is going? So after extensive perusing of the store, I decided, my husband said, get your Valentine's Day present here. So I decided that I was going to do that. And I got 2 yards of Liberty of London lawn. I might go back for 1 more yard. So it's little birds. I do believe they might be pheasants. And I'm going to make a top of some sort. I would love to make another schoolhouse tunic, but I need another almost yard for that. And I had to stop at 2 yards because the price is spendy. But you know, I don't want jewelry, which would be a lot more expensive, right? So I got this, and I'm kind of thrilled. So I think this would look amazing with a gray cardigan over it or something, you know. I don't know if it will be a t-shirt or it will become something else, but I'm just very excited to cut into it. I don't know about the care instructions. I need to look. I haven't washed it. It's fresh from the store, and this will become something lovely. It's very sort of silk dressing gown feel, isn't it? It's not. It's cotton lawn, which I believe it's called lawn because it's from the town in France, Laon, Laon. That was where it was first produced. I don't know too much about how it's produced. I need to read up on it. Other acquisitions. I received the most lovely swap. And I had done a swap. We were set up by the Spicy Homemaker. Melissa? Is that her name? She organized a podcaster's Valentine's swap. And yeah, so Halsey Yarn is the name of her Etsy shop, and she has the U University podcast. And I really wasn't, for whatever reason, hadn't watched the U University podcast. And she is extremely educational. I mean, like the name says. Her latest one is about sewing notions, and she's a wealth of information. So, really recommend watching her podcast. Halsey Yarn. Have a sparkly day. I do believe that is her motto. Have a sparkly day. Okay, this whole package was so thoughtfully put together. She made this bag for me. It's got this cute little stitch marker fob. Okay, let me show you what was in the package. It's a very adorable Valentine's card. Looks handmade. It's got some washi tape up here. She made me 2 washcloths. I now have 4 of the same kind of washcloths given to me by viewers, and they get used. My daughter and I use them all the time. We share a bathroom, and the dudes share a bathroom, and it works out very well. So we both use these. Oh, look, this was handmade by Christine Kelly. That's her name, Christine Kelly, Halsey Yarn U University podcast. So look at this yarn she sent me. This is Sweet Georgia Tough Love Sock. Do you see how it matches? Mm-hmm. What colorway is this? Midnight something. Midnight Garden. Totally my colors. Lovely. I've never used that sock yarn before. I'm very excited. Yay handmade. Going on my fridge. This is magnet. There's her little podcast button. Now this was all wrapped up beautifully and just so lovely. Just a lovely presentation. Seaside caramel. And then a few little beauty goodies, which I've already used. Love this lip balm and hand cream. Goat milk hand cream. Dionys is the brand. And then sweet berry lip balm, which is lovely. And then this, which is not something I'd ever seen before. Egg white soap. Wit Zip. It's with chamomile flowers and less that thing. Let's see. What language is this? Belgian beauty bars. Must be Flemish. White Zip. Half of Belgium speaks French, and the other half, I believe, speaks Flemish. This must be the Flemish half. Smells amazing. So, I know, right? Now, our knit along, the compassion along, I might be getting another bag as a giveaway from a new bag maker in time to give that as a prize for this month's knit along. So keep the compassion along FOs coming. There's some amazing things in that FO thread. Just so you can plan, do I have March? Next time I'll tell you what March's word is going to be. I don't think I have it planned yet. We'll see. So let's talk about what's coming up. And let's talk about Fiber Camp. I will be uploading a separate episode of the kids sort of reflecting on their week of learning fibery stuff. I had 5 kids this year, 5 amazing kids. They were 2 freshman girls and then 3 juniors, 2 of whom were dudes. Dude is the word of the day, apparently. They all finished a hat. Their hats were amazing. You might recall, did I talk about Jimmy Bean's wool last time at all? Jimmy Bean's wool caused me some problems as I was ordering for these kids. And suffice it to say, I am none too pleased with Jimmy Bean's wool or their customer service lame attempt to make it up to me. I probably shouldn't have even said that here, but I'm not happy. I had to scramble the weekend before I started Fiber Camp on Monday for yarn. If you want to know more, you can PM me. Maybe I'll even edit this out. I don't want to, cause problems, but yeah, they caused me problems. So, okay. Fiber Camp was wonderful. As I was saying, I ended up using shepherd's wool from Stone Hedge Mill in Michigan, which is lovely wool. Really had my heart set on the Malabrigo worsted. Couldn't get it. And, but the shepherd's wool was lovely. I got all the hats cast on and the brims done. And it's just so funny, the level of, who gets what, when, who, the speed with which they get the knit stitch and retain it in some cases and have to learn it again. And, but they all finished their hats. They had a blast. They were all ready. They were all cast on for something new when we left each other on Thursday. As I said, the dye day was fabulous. The attitudes were amazing. The hats all fit gorgeously. I put some pictures on Instagram. And so we dyed the sock blanks and we dyed a superwash wool worsted skein. And I think they all had a really good time. I got a lovely thank you note at the end of it. They claimed that my husband was trying to fatten them up a la Hansel and Gretel, the witch in that story. And I'm like, Why do you think I am so well fed? I live with this man, and he's a great cook. And most days I would bake something, and then he would cook lunch. And it was just a lovely week, really lovely week. I think they really enjoyed coming to our house, and we just hung out. I was able to give them sort of an intro to the different fleeces I have here, and I talked about Jacob fleece with their multiple horns and their genetic link to Tay-Sachs disease in humans and how they could be part of gene therapy. I talked about Hog Island. I talked about some of the Scottish breeds that I really love, North Ronaldsay, Shetland. Showed them my Lincoln fleece, my Shetland fleece, my Gotland fleece, talked about the Gotland breed, Stansborough Gray. I think some kids really loved that. All the girls did a bit of weaving. And I know I went into it thinking maybe the boys would like it. They just wanted to knit their hats. So there's still some weaving on the loom. I need to cut it off and send it to school so they can do what they want with it. Two of the girls were interested in trying drop spindling and supported spindling. And in fact, they were able to get some twist going with the supported spindle. So one of them tried my wheel. I need to bone up on my techniques, or I need to get some techniques for teaching spinning. It's not something I've really ever done, and I'm not there yet. I need to improve my spinning teaching techniques, and it was really not the focus of this week. It was more of an exposure thing. But it was lovely. We'll hopefully do it again next year. And we did go to Looped, as I said, for a few hours one afternoon. They were shocked at the price of nice wool. So, we talked about, we did talk about, it's an art form, that it's not mass produced. It's worth the extra money. It's like buying organic food versus industrial raised or processed food. So definitely an education for everybody involved, and including me. And every time I get to work with students, I get, I think, as much from them as they get from me. So the beauty of teaching, always. So I do believe, as I said, I will put their reflections in a separate episode, and they're wonderful. You'll see. And then I have promised a guest, and I believe because of the snow and everything, we just haven't been able to find a time. But I think we're going to do it next weekend. My friend Sarah, her year of West Knits, she is knitting an hand-spun enchanted mesa as we speak. So you'll probably see us both in our enchanted mesas. 2016 is her year of West Knits. So she's going to come on occasionally, at least once a month, and show what she's doing and talk about what she's going to do next. So hopefully, if not next episode, the one after that, you will see her on Fibertown. Okay. Should I edit out the Jimmy Beans rant? I don't know. Probably not. So, take it with a grain of salt. I'm sure they're lovely. I just had a bad experience. Okay, you guys. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.